Hey, YCIS, Mr. Hackman back again for another weekly assembly. Hope you had a good weekend and look forward to hopefully this is going to be a good week. I hope you enjoyed Founders Day last Friday. Just walking through the school, I could see everybody was having a good time, and I think it was a very successful day on Founders Day. And then I hope you got a little relaxation over the weekend, and we're back for another week. It's still fairly early in the school year, so I wanted to share maybe some tips that might be able to help you academically as well as in your life. Obviously, one of the things we're trying to communicate in these assemblies is how to develop our holistic life, our life maybe applied to academics, of course, but so much more. Again, to just focus on different relationships and interactions. Sometimes it's going to be between yourself and God or the divine. Sometimes between your peers around you, friends, family, your community around you. Sometimes it's going to be focusing in on our relationship with the environment and creation. But what I wanted to chat with you about today was some things that have helped me in my life. And it's still early enough in the academic year. I thought it might be a good strategic time to talk about um, successful habits, and particularly habits that people who have been very successful in their lives, what they've identified as what's helped them. So we're just going to spend the next few minutes looking at some of these habits that successful people have developed, and perhaps some of them you might be able to implement into your own life. Obviously, maybe not all of these, but every one of them is definitely worth considering. And I know I have implemented or I've tried to implement some of these into my life as well. And I find them very helpful. So the first one is as interesting as to read a lot. That Bill Gates says that he reads for 1 hour as part of his bedtime routine. I've got a Kindle now, and so I've been attempting to read more and more. I find I'm trying to get off of social media a bit. And sometimes I find myself when I'm going through Facebook or Instagram, stopping myself and pulling my Kindle out because I noticed this year my reading amount has gone down, but some of my social media interaction has gone up. What's really good is on your phone, it'll tell you your analysis for the week. And I like when I see that it's told me, you've done like 23% less screen time on your phone. And that was what I got last week. And it was because I've been trying to read more. So Bill Gates reads for an hour as part of his bedtime routine. J.K. Rowling, who wrote the famous Harry Potter books, she said as a child she used to read just about anything, absolutely everything, she said. President Obama, former President Obama, as well as Albert Einstein, were well known for loving books, reading a lot. Reading helps you learn from the mistakes and successes of others. It really broadens your perspective, helps you to see the world in a bigger light. And I couldn't recommend reading more, reading for enjoyment more. I think especially as students, sometimes you have to read as part of your curriculum, as part of your classroom assignments, but it's really important that reading becomes a joy. And for many of you, I hope you can develop that skill because I think it'll help you succeed or help in having a successful life in the future. Here's one that might be tough for some of you: getting up early. Notable early risers include Sir Richard Branson of the Virgin Group, Disney CEO Robert Iger, and Yahoo's Marissa Mayer. Now, waking up is not an easy habit to develop. It's fortunately, I've always gotten up early, and I'm very lucky. My wife always gets a little irritated that I can get up so early to do work, but I found it very helpful. I find some of my most productive hours are very early in the morning, often before others get up. I'm often the first person in the office here. I get into the office quite early, just because I find that it really helps me to set my day to be successful. Is getting some things done straight away helps, and I think it might be able to help you as well. Just a suggestion is no screen or light at least 1 hour before bedtime. Try to not have your face in front of a screen, um, as you're trying to wind down, because you want to develop good sleeping habits. You want to get a restful night's sleep, and when you have a restful night's sleep, you can obviously get up earlier. Get up off the couch or away from the computer and exercise. Successful people have all the resources they'll ever need to keep themselves fit and healthy. They can work hard, and yet exercise is still part of their daily habits. Exercise, it keeps you fit, obviously, but it also makes for a healthy brain. It minimizes stress. It improves memory. In fact, using too much work as an excuse, or maybe I've got too much homework or too much schooling going on, is not an excuse to not exercise, and it can actually be counterproductive. Studies have shown that exercise can boost creativity and productivity by as much as 2 hours. About 5 or 6 months, I began doing circuit training twice a week, and it's a pretty intensive workout. I only do it twice a week, but I find that it really de-stresses me, opens up my mind. I feel ready to engage the world so much more after a good workout. Ursula Burns, this Xerox company CEO, she has a bi-weekly exercise habit of a 1 hour session with her trainer. And then Anna Wintour, the editor-in-chief over at Vogue magazine, very successful person, she has a habit of playing tennis 1 hour a day. So obviously exercise is a good habit to develop. Minimize distractions by checking email and social media maybe just twice a day. Tim Ferriss, he's very famous for writing this book called The 4-Hour Work Week. Everybody would love to work just 4 hours a week. He managed to do it. And he likes to minimize distractions. He recommends, he checks emails. And granted, when he wrote this, I think emails were a bit more what we're, obviously we still use emails, but perhaps we might even consider things like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, our different social medias, of not constantly referring to them all day, but having set times during the day when you'll check in on it and then put it away. I know I've had to develop sometimes when I'm with friends, I turn my phone off, or in the evenings, I'll put my phone in the closet or somewhere, because as soon as it buzzes, as soon as it dings, whatever, you know, you've got your phone set at, you have this desire, you're talking to somebody, and then suddenly you're distracted. This thing controls our life so much. And I think it's going to be important in the years to come that social media came on us so fast, and I think we're only now beginning to learn, for all the benefits and positive impact it's had, it's also had a lot of negative impact. And I think we're going to have to learn as humans, how do we mitigate that? How do we take the best that social media has to offer, and at the same time learn to get to the place where we control it rather than sometimes it controlling us. Then there's students playing piano out there on the keyboard. It's great to have students back again, but it's not always good when you're filming. Donating. Successful people allot time to give back to their communities by working with charities, volunteering, and donating. Tom Corley, author of Wealthy Habits, The Daily Successful Habits of Wealthy Individuals, states that 73% of the 233 wealthy people he studied for 5 years volunteer more than 5 hours a month. So that's Bill Gates, Oprah Winfrey, Warren Buffett. They all donate to different causes. Now you might be saying, hey, I'm a student. I'm not a millionaire. I can't donate this or that. You know, we have our Seeds of Hope program, and we're going to be developing service learning here at UChung even more over the next year or two. There's wonderful opportunities for you to not only give back to your community, but obviously once COVID is no longer part of our situation and we can travel again, we're looking forward to our Seeds of Hope trips to the Philippines. So there's all kinds of opportunities for you to be able to give back to others. And then often when giving back to others, it really creates an opportunity for us to expand ourselves and understand who we are better. And that in turn creates healthy habits, which lead to success in our lives. And then this is something I think I've really done pretty well at. This is something I've really brought into my life. and it's having an attitude of gratitude. I really try to be grateful for most things in my life. I am very grateful. I remind myself often of the good things that I'm blessed with. When I look around the world, there's a lot of people who don't have some of the blessings that I have. And if I'm honest, all of you out there, that you have. And it does something to our spirits when we don't feel like things are unfair and it hasn't gone our way, but you start to see the world around you and in a very positive light, that it's really blessed us. And in my case, I say it's how it's blessed me. And obviously there's things we can do. You can practice 3 gratitudes a day. This is a routine that some people have instituted where you write down 3 things, or you even just say to yourself 3 things that you're grateful for every day. I think I'm pretty good at doing this naturally, but if you're not used to it, it doesn't hurt to write down what are 3 things you could be grateful for. um, and just to develop that, because it will help change your mindset and will create a more positive attitude for you to engage others with around you. And then for me, obviously, to me, it's very important in my own um, the habits I develop is to develop my relationship with God. And I think for many of you, you would benefit from developing a relationship with God, a personal relationship with Him. And there's a number of ways that you can do it. For me, obviously, the traditional way, there's prayers. I have a routine of prayers that I try to go through every day. Often, when I first get here in the morning, I like to spend a few minutes and go through these prayers that not that I've developed, but are part of the Christian faith and have been part of the Christian tradition for hundreds of years. I find praying some of the prayers that are hundreds of years old, that the saints, the Christians who have gone on before me, that they prayed as well, that it does something to me to help connect me to my ancient faith. And so that's something that helps me develop my relationship with God. There's the reading of the Bible. Many of you know that I've done a lot of long walks across Europe and various places around the world, and even in Hong Kong. Often in the evening, I'll take a long walk home just to clear my mind, clear my spirit, give me a chance to decompress and to process the day, so that not everything is rush, that there's a time of reflection. Maybe think about in interactions that I've had with people, maybe things I could have done better, or things I could have said better, or things maybe I did right. And I have to think about how I can maybe continue um, with those kind of patterns. So it's always good to have a reflection time as part of your day. I blog. I don't blog as much these days, but I still tend to put some things out. I do a lot of things to help me process my relationship with God. And I'm a big podcast listener. I'm always listening to sometimes news, but often faith-based podcasts that help me in my relationship with God. And I'm sure in your own developing a relationship with God, any one of these could be an asset or a help to you, but you may have your own ways of doing that. And this is just part of having a successful holistic life. Anyhow, those are just some of the habits of some successful people. I've gotten to share some of the very successful people's habits, and as well as some of the things that I have tried to implement in my life that have helped me kind of um, get to my age where I'm fairly happy with the way that I've been able to develop a personal holistic lifestyle. And I'm hoping that you will learn the habits you need in order to develop a holistic lifestyle that, as I often say, will give life a flourishing life, a life worth living both to yourself and to those who you have daily encounters with. So I hope this has helped. As always, I'll have a couple reflection questions up for you to do in your form times, which I'll add just now. But before we finish, as we always do, I like to close this in a word of prayer. So let's say the Lord's Prayer together. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us our sins as we forgive them that sin against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For yours is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll see you again back here next week. Bye-bye.